this thing. Just my experience dealing with Chapter 3's Roaring Night. Yep, we're reviewing this. Because why not? So, since I'm going to be reviewing this, I want to talk about moments before we got to this point. Okay? Slash before I even thought about caring or anything about this boss. Anyways, moving on. So, so the first time I actually fought the Roaring Knight, okay, in Deltarune in general, right? The first time I ever did it was when I was first doing Chapter 3 for the very first time and I made it to the end, right? And just like a lot of casual players that are, going through these chapters, that are enjoying their time going through these chapters, what ended up happening is I saw him, or them, I don't know if they're male or female, to be honest at this point, but who cares, whatever, that's not the point. I remember when I first fought him, I died by the first or the second move. And I remember immediately, just like a lot of other people, we immediately skipped forward and moved on, like, immediately. Just move on to the next chapter because, keep in mind, Chapter 3 and 4 released in the same day. And I was like, oh, bet, I can do 2 streams. One of doing the entirety of Chapter 3, maybe the one of the entirety of Chapter 4. And now keep in mind, for many, many months after that point, I did not care about doing any secret boss, okay? At this point in time when I was going through Chapter 3, because keep in mind, at this time I didn't do Jevil, at this time I didn't do Spamp and Neo, both routes. At this point I didn't even do Gerson, I didn't even do Mike, I didn't do anybody during my original playthrough. So that's why I kind of had that mentality of like, oh, let's play, I want to see what's going on, my initial investment in, my love for Deltarune stuff is showing and all that other sort of mumbo jumbo, whatever. But anyways, so after that first playthrough, many months after that first playthrough, I started doing secret bosses. I started doing, obviously it started with Jevil, because Chapter 1 secret boss is Jevil. And then, it slowly started, which this was many months after I've already beaten Chapters 3 and 4, like casually, right? So I decided to go back to deal with Jevil, which took a long while. Then I decided to go back to Spampton, right? And then after Spampton, I wanted to do Spampton Neo, which that, obviously, you guys know in those respective videos, those stories. So that happened. And obviously, I'm sitting here kind of wondering, okay, I want to do another Chapter Secret Boss because I am sort of interested. I want to know if Chapter 3 has a secret boss. And, a lot of people pointed to the Shadow Mantle at the time as the actual secret boss. And I was like, you have to do so much to get him. And that's why I didn't initially do him at first. I initially didn't do him because of the fact that it was like, I don't know, it's just too much work for me, dude. And I was already getting pissed a lot at what Chapter 3 was already giving me with all these puzzles and gameplay styles and all this other sort of stuff. So I really was not having it in terms of trying to get the Shadow Mantle and stuff. Redsky, welcome to stream. Talking about Deltarune's secret boss, the Roaring Knight. And I'm talking about the events leading up to me going up against it, all that other sort of stuff. So we're starting with that first before I get into my actual time with him. Anyway, so I didn't get the Shadow Mantle, so that was something, which I kind of wish I did. But, what is that? What is what? What are you talking about? Oh, that's just my brother dead in the bag. He's just sleeping. Is that Super Mario? Yeah, I got a poster right there. Anyways, love that. Love Mario. I'm thinking about playing him today, so there might be another stream coming up on this channel really quick. Anyways, as I was saying, because I really want to focus, because this is a more focused video than a vlog where I get off topic all the time. So after the whole thing with the mantle that I didn't do and all that other sort of stuff, I didn't really give a fuck. So after I beat Tenna, I skipped to Chapter 4. I did Chapter 4, and I enjoyed it a lot and all that other sort of stuff. So kind of weird. Kind of weird there. Did all that. And again, as I was coming back to Deltarune doing the secret bosses, I wanted to do more and more and more of them. After I beat Jevil, or after I beat, I think it was regular Spamton first. Then I beat Jevil. And then after I beat Jevil, I beat Spamton Snowgrave. I think that's exactly how it went, if I remember correctly, or if I actually did beat Jebel first, then Spamton Neo, Secret Boss, and then I did Spamton Neo Snowgrave. So that was something, right? So I've already done like a couple of secret bosses in the game and stuff like that. But anyways, my point still stands, right? I was getting really attached to doing the secret bosses. And, quite a while later, like I mentioned, after doing those bosses and stuff, I wanted to do more. I wanted to do chapter 3s or chapter 4s by any chance. And I remember for many weeks or many months, I was just kind of sitting there like, I don't know, man. Gerson, that means I would have to redo the entirety of chapter 4, all the way until you see the golden piano, and then I would have to do this and that and this and that. I don't know. I don't really care about it. I don't care. So, after a long while of just saying, fuck those secret bosses, I won't do them, then I wanted to do Mike for some reason. Mike because I thought I could, which kind of would have, because usually this is how it is for me. If I care about something, I'm going to go and fucking do it, okay? I'm going to try and do it any means necessary or any way possible. That includes, like, going on Game Jolt and finding a random version of that same boss and fighting that instead. If I can't, like, do the original or all that other sort of stuff, right? I get that desperate most times, which I've noticed. I've realized that now. Or not now, but I've realized that for quite a while, that I get quite desperate when I want to do something I love so much, or I want to do something, I want to beat something I love or am invested in, or, I get like feelings on and all that other sort of stuff, right? It's hard for me to explain. But yeah, after like all that mumbo jumbo, I think it was like one night, like a couple nights back, right? We're just going to skip over a couple nights back. I just sat on my bed one night, and you know me, I'm listening to my Deltarune music, I'm listening to my Super Mario music, I'm listening to all my stuff that I like to listen to, and I typed in, because I think I was listening to Big Shot on YouTube, like a Big Shot with Lyrics by Brooklyn, or whatever Big Shot with Lyrics, and I remember I was like, you know what? I wonder if the Roaring Knight has any lyric videos, just like Spamton and Jevil and all the other guys that are in Deltarune, right? So I found out, and I listened to a couple of their pieces. I'm gonna give you a taste, because I listened to 2 of them, right? 2 to 3 of them specifically. I listened to the one from The Man on the Internet, and then I listened to, what is it? Yeah, the one from Man on the Internet, and then I listened to the one from, Mamily, Mayo, and Raven, right? Which is the 2-minute song and a 4-minute song, respectively, right? I blasted these 2 pieces of music, right? From the man on the internet, right? And I remember hearing this for the first time, right? And then hearing this one for the first time, just both of them simultaneously. I remember, like, that night I was on my bed over there while listening to these 2 songs, if not maybe a little bit more Deltarune music. I don't want to use the whole theme in the video. I don't want to get copyrighted for it. I remember I straight up really wanted to do the night more than ever before. I got this random late night burst of motivation, and I wanted to do it so bad. But my brother was on the PlayStation talking with his friends, like I think his friend Aaron or something, whatever. He was talking to Aaron like he usually is. He always talks to Aaron all the time. He talks to Aaron, and I was like, "Fuck! I want to do it so bad." When something gets stuck to my brain, I notice and it's about and it mostly happens with video game bosses or something I really, really want to do. But 9 times out of 10, whenever I do like a secret boss or like something's on my mind, it gets stuck in my mind. It gets fixated with my mind. Like I get like this weird type of fixation on it, and it doesn't leave, and it doesn't leave so badly that that it becomes like what I want to do. It becomes my whole being for a while, and this happened multiple times throughout my life. But like the Roaring Knight just wouldn't leave. I had that music on in my ears, and I even tried to go outside after that and just say, "Fuck, dude, I want to get rid of this boss." The thought of doing this boss in my head, right? So all last night, I was just the Roaring Knight in my head 24/7 because I couldn't do Mike because that would mean me redoing all of Chapter 3 and recruiting as many people as possible, which is probably the easiest option I could probably do. To be honest, just recruit everybody and make sure none of them get hurt so I can actually do the mic fight. Maybe I will go back and do that instead of doing the Roaring Night. Who fucking knows? I don't know. I really don't know. You know, in my opinion, it's hard for me to redo something I already did, so that might not happen. But, yeah, anyways, like I said, it's difficult for me to redo stuff, and or not only like redo the chapter, but you know, it's just difficult for me to do things in general, right? Which is why I try not to push things onto myself too much, or which is why I'm trying to start to care less about things, because I notice when I care about something, bro, I get stupid onto it, and it makes me never want to let go. It makes me never want to leave until I get it done and do it, and it's just such a stupid mentality. I hate it. I hate having ADHD and all that other sort of crap. I hate it. I really hate it in moments like these. But anyway, so the next morning, I got up because I could not sleep well that night. Like, the night I went to sleep thinking about the Roaring Night, wanting to do it so bad. And Louis, by the way, never let me do it last night, so I had to wait, and I had a restless sleep, like, until like 4 or 5 in the morning, just thinking of the Roaring Night, tossing, turning, flipping around. Like, the Roaring Night was legit in my mind, like, fucking making me lose my shit. Well, not lose my shit, but making me just so more and more eager to go and do it. So I got up early as fuck in the morning. I went over here, I sat down, and I buckled in, I strapped in, and I said, you know what? Let's do the Roaring Night. Now, keep in mind, right? When I did the Roaring Night, my footage of the Roaring Night, I have 3 streams already, which this is what I spent most of yesterday doing, by the way. I spent most of yesterday, if not a good couple of hours, trying to do the Roaring Night, right? And let me tell you guys, the Roaring Night was easily one of the most annoying bosses I've ever fought in gaming, dude. Like, I've just ever fought out of all time. This even includes Sonic Unleashed Wii with, like, the fucking, you know, Dark Gaia and stuff, right? But he is one of the most annoying because of the moves, right? And me not knowing how to dodge him and stuff. And I spent like 37 minutes on my first stream trying to do attempts over and over again. Then I spent an hour 39:11 doing another one. And then I spent an hour 14 just doing it all over again. So I spent like 2, 3, 4-ish hours doing attempts. I even did attempts off camera, like before this too. Before those streams, I did like 1 or 2 attempts off camera. And then I even tried like multiple times throughout those streams. And you know what sucks? Trying this over and over again, multiple times, 7 days a week on stream over and over again, right? Is I don't know, when you do this secret boss, the Shadow, the Roaring Night and stuff, it's so punishing. Like, every move hits extremely hard. Like, you permanently have your ally stay down, and it's annoying. A lot of people say the Roaring Knight is not as hard as Sans because of sheer length, because this fight, you can make it short if you have the right things. But keep in mind, right, me, someone who is a casual Deltarune player, that goes above and beyond sometimes, because if his mind is really geared towards going above and beyond, he will go above and beyond to do something, right? Which is, again, what I try to do for the night, right? But get this. The reason why I kept failing the night is not only because of my lack of skill, right? And just every time where I die, I don't have the right equipment, right? I don't have the right equipment to do this, right? And I noticed this because every time I would leave the game, come back, I noticed that so many people, when they're making their guide videos, they're like, okay, you need to have the Devil's Knife, you need to have the Shadow Mantle on Chris, you need to have this, you need to have that, before you even attempt the night at all, right? And I'm sitting there like, you know, it's funny, I didn't do the Shadow Mantle because getting an S rank or a Z rank for me, or a T rank or whatever on tennis board, fucking minigames, garbage stuff, is way too fucking difficult, / way too time consuming for me. I'm just trying to play and have fun, okay? And what is it? And not only trying to get the Shadow Mantle is a long, tedious grind in itself, when the chapter itself is already a long and tedious piece of shit garbage grind. But it's funny because after I beat, you know, Jevil, you know, on my first game file, on, you know, my chapter 1 file, apparently my Jevil's knife, my Jevil's scythe, or whatever weapon for Susie, didn't carry over to my chapter 4 file because guess what? I beat Jebel, but after I already beat chapter 1 with all those chapter 1 stats already saving over to the next chapter, to the next, to the next, to the next. So guess what? I can't get Susie's fucking Jebel's knife for more damage and minus 10 TP on Rude Buster. So without me knowing, I already fucked up a part of the process on the Roaring Knight. And then it's like lack of revivalments or lack of permanent full health revives. Lack of that I fucked up on too. Armor and gear I fucked up on too. Because I didn't know where to go, how to grab them, and what to do. Because I don't think a lot of people were telling me like how to play. If I can't really remember my chapter 3 and 4 live stream all that much because it was such a long time ago. But because I didn't have all of these things combined, keep in mind, I didn't have all of that. On top of struggling with every move that I come across over and over and over again, it just left me to a boiling point. I was getting so fucking angry that like I was sort of taking it out on you guys, which this is how I notice I'm really mad, is if I'm really pissed that like my viewers were making me do things or it's either I'm very pissed at myself, but on top of like sometimes maybe at you guys, even though some of you guys don't even deserve it, or most of you guys don't deserve it at all. But sometimes I can just get mad at every fucking thing, right? And the fact that I can't do this boss, right, really hurts my feelings because, as you guys know, like, again, when I start to care about something, you know, I give a fuck. I give a fuck about every failure. I give a fuck about me not doing it. And then it turns into kind of motivation to do it, and it's a whole fucking thing. But because I lacked so much stuff, and because some of that stuff did not carry over to a future file, I legit could not do this fight. Every single attempt I ever did failed. And I would do attempt after attempt after attempt after attempt after attempt after attempt, bro. And it would be so fucking annoying doing attempt after attempt. And god damn it, they have to have the leap blowers out today of all fucking days to get this done. You can even see in my gameplay when the shit switches, like the black void thing switches. I'm so slow on reacting to those black little sphere things. Or maybe the fucking sword spinning or whatever. I'm pretty slow on that sometimes or whatever. Or I'm pretty slow at the blade slashes and stuff and all that other sort of crap. And it's like every single time at a certain move, you know, when the cube breaks and all those black spheres go in multiple different directions, that's where I die at every single time. So just imagine being me, right, where I die in a couple of hits over and over and over and over and over again. You're hearing the fucking Roaring Knight theme. We're talking about the blast over and over and over again here. Roaring Knight theme. Right? I'm sitting there hearing this theme over and over and over and over and over. Every single time I fucking die, by the way, over and over. Here, I'm gonna turn it up because it's the fucking lawnmower people are really annoying me this morning. In the middle of my review. Right? I'm hearing this every single time. Dying. Over and over. Time and time again. I'm dying over and over to the knight's moves. And I can't do a damn, and I mean I can't do a damn thing about it. And it pisses me off so bad that I can't do anything about the Roaring Knight. Like I can't go back to previous saves, get myself more revival mints to push myself further in the fight. Either way. I can't recycle items I've already used because the trash dude hates the fuck out of me. And I remember I was doing so much research in between runs of the Roaring Knight. Like, hey, what are other methods of doing the Roaring Knight? Because I want to beat this guy, but I can't beat him because I'm struggling so bad. Maybe it's obviously not only just a me problem because there's people out there that have beaten the Roaring Knight, you know, without Shadow Mantle before. Tons of people have already done that. Right, just to prove that they the shit, right? But me, it's like I just want to have a secret boss that is fun, you know? Like, it could be hard, but I don't know, it just feels like make it more doable, you know? I don't want to die in like 2 to 3 hits from one of Roaring Knight's most strongest moves, you know? When I want to do a boss, I want to die in at least 10 to 12 hits, at least give me, I don't know, like, give me some sort of better thing. And I get punished for failing the Roaring Knight because I didn't go back and get the Shadow Mantle. I don't have Devil's Knight because that thing didn't save over. No Revival Mint or barely any. Only 3 throughout the course of the entire 11-minute, maybe 12-minute fight that it would take you to do the Roaring Knight. And some people even say with the Shadow Mantle, it makes no difference. So literally at every point in time, I've turned to do something else, to try an alternative method to find a way to beat this fucking guy. It's like, nope, 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 nope. Some people say, hey, just put everything that you have that's strong enough on Susie, literally, and go do the boss fight. Like, that's all you have to do. You legit have to pray that Susie's gonna do enough damage to do literally anything. Just try to find the best equipment for Susie that ups her attack, pray you don't get fucking hit, and we're golden. And I'm sitting there like, how? How can I just sit there and survive all the moves that the Roaring Knight is dishing out at me, right? With just like, I don't know, 2-3 hits. And some moves, again, mind you, are insta-kills, by the way, are insta-kills to party members or your teammates. Like, for example, the swords that take a minute to dash up, down, left, right, and then cross like this perspective, and then up and down and shit. Right? It's like, how is someone like me supposed to deal with this, right? And I know there is an option that where you can immediately like move on from the fight. You don't actually have to win the fight. And I know at the end of it, you still sort of lose, but at least you get the Shadow Crystal from it, which means you technically won. You took a 50-50. But it bothers me, right, that I failed for multiple hours on end to beat the Roaring Knight. And it's not, and some of it is my fault, but also others aren't completely my fault. So it's like, for example, like not doing the Shadow Mantle part on my first playthrough, I guess was my fault because I just wanted to get done with it because I hate how tedious Chapter 3's puzzles and all that stuff was. It's all my fault there, but Jevil's Knife, after I beat Jevil, right, should carry over, regardless of, regardless of my save file, but it doesn't. And it actually pisses me off that it doesn't carry over. And you know what I've also tried to do? I've tried to redo Chapter 3 to try to get the lowest rank so I can get a Z rank, to get the S rank room and all that other sort of stuff, to try to get the best items possible for the night. And guess what? I can't even stomach another playthrough of Chapter 3 I can't. Like, I legit tried this morning for like over 20-30 minutes. I can't stomach a replay. And by the way, if you fuck up and not get all the items, the only ways you can redo like the boards or any of Chapter 3 to get a chance, right, at all this garbage, is to redo the entire chapter or redo the entire game from scratch to get the Jevil's Knife and all that other sort of stuff. So either way, I was fucking screwed, man. And keep in mind, Deltarune as a game or any of its respective chapters are not short. They are pretty lengthy if you're going for everything in the chapter. They can go from 2, 3, 4, maybe even 5 hours, depending how good you are at the game. And not only, like, the chapter's length is probably 2 to 3 hours, but depending on your skill level, Jesus Christ, man, you know what I'm saying? And, I don't know, just for me, it's like, I remember after, like, 3 streams of the Roaring Knight, it's like, I'm remembering my Jevil streams, I'm remembering my fucking Sand streams, and it's just like, dude, I'm done. It feels like I'm getting punished for shit that is, again, my fault and not my fault while dealing with this Roaring Knight. And it just seems like, regardless of what I do, how I do it, I just can't fucking do it. Maybe if I get a PC and I whip up Cheat Engine and I give Susie like max HP or something, or whatever, maybe I could, or not max HP, but like maybe like no damage to Susie or something, or what the fuck ever. Maybe the fight will become doable in my eyes, but I don't know, man. It's just not doable for me at all, bro. I legit just cannot fucking do it. And it also doesn't help the fact that it almost feels like a fan fight, like a fan fight. Like, I know Toby on purpose made the Roaring Night so difficult, because keep in mind the Roaring Night, and it's supposed to be extremely difficult because the Roaring Night is going to be like maybe the final boss of the game or one of the final bosses of like, you know, the game like way later on. Right now, when you beat him, when you get him almost a quarter of his health or something. I can't remember the damage because I've spent most of the day doing this. But anyways, other than that, right, what freaked me out probably the most about like the Roaring Night was usually whenever I play something, right, I would sweat my ass off, right? I would sweat so ridiculously bad. Like, my hands would get grimy, my brain is overwhelmed, my body's on fire, my armpits are sweating, my head is sweating, I'm sweaty. I become such a sweaty player normally when I do something that frustrates me, when I do something that pisses me off, when I do something rage-inducing, when I do something like of anything of the sort, right? So when I did the Roaring Night and spent multiple hours doing that, on stream for you guys to watch, which not a lot of you guys came in for those, but I don't really give a fuck. But, I mean, I do give a fuck, but I don't give a fuck at the same time, so, because, whenever I do certain streams and I want to do it, it's, like, for my own satisfaction most of the time, streaming my attempts is just there, so, like, it's on video, and I don't have to worry about doing it again. If I do eventually beat the Roaring Night or something like that, that's why I stream my gameplay of doing hard things, because it's like, hey, here's proof of me fucking doing it and my reaction as well to me fucking doing it. And keep in mind as well, while trying to do like the Roaring Night, I also was trying to find different Roaring Nights on the fucking internet to go and do, because the Roaring Night was just so difficult that I was getting so desperate. I was like, yo, can I find a Roaring Night battle where I already have the Shadow Mantle, where I already have all the best items in the inventory, so I can just like do that version instead? Like, I was so desperate to like try to fight and maybe even beat the Roaring Night that I would just like spam the Neo Snowgrave or just spam the Neo in general. I went online to try to find different versions of the fight so I could be like, yeah, I beat the Roaring Night or a version of the Roaring Night before. Just so I can say that, just so I can actually do that. Yeah, I get that desperate sometimes. I even tried booting up, what is it? I tried booting up like the one on Scratch, like the goated Roaring Night fight from Scratch, completely remade on Scratch, and my tablet can't even run it. I need a computer for it to run, like even properly, for 5 seconds. So that's kind of shitty. But because I was like, I want to do the Roaring Night fight so bad. I tried booting it up on Scratch. I tried fighting mobile ports on Game Jolt, which did not happen. Nobody's even doing it, and I'm just sitting there like, fucking. Why, man? Like, why is there no, like, Roaring Night fan game for mobile or anything that I can do as an alternative from doing the Roaring Night in Deltarune? Fuck. Give me some type of way to do it, or somewhere on the internet where I can actually practice the fight. Because keep in mind, just like Spammed Neo Snowgrave, there's no bad time simulator for the Roaring Night. No one's actually made a fucking Roaring Night simulator where it's like, okay, I can practice this move, maybe go in practice mode to focus on maybe one move at a time or something like that. Nothing. It's like I have to go in there and do it all at once and keep dying over and over and over again. And I mean this over and 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 over again, just to learn something new and just to get like more pissed and all that other sort of stuff, which annoys me, which really bugs me, which really pisses me off. And I get frustrated a lot, but what was really freaking me out the most, right, was I wasn't sweating at all. And usually, I would be. Every time I go through this stuff, I would be sweating up the ass. My fight or flight mode would be on in like 5 minutes of gameplay or 2 minutes of gameplay, depending on what it is, right? But I didn't have a single sweat gland down my body. And sure, I was like maybe stressed or freaked out in some of the moments because of how far I would get in the Roaring Night fight, because I'm further than what I was before. But even in those moments, I wasn't sweating one bit. Right? Like, not a single drip of sweat. And I remember that shit freaked me out the most because I didn't even realize it until, like, my third stream was over. I said, you know what? Fuck the Roaring Night. I quit. And I remember I went to the mailbox, right? And then that's when I realized that that entire time I didn't sweat. Like, from my armpits all the way down to my fucking, like, lower hip right down here because I would sweat that bad, refusively that bad when I play, or like just my body in general would sweat. No shirt either. I wasn't wearing a shirt. You know, it was like, I think 60, 70, 80, and there was just nothing on my body that entire time, right? And I remember after I went to the mailbox, came back, I was wondering, because I was like, that's sort of freaking me out, because I'm like, usually I would sweat doing literally fucking anything, and now suddenly I'm not sweating during the Roaring Night, when literally Spammed and Neo, both versions, I've sweated on refusively like crazy. The controller was full of sweat and all that other sort of stuff. Read the title. It's my experience dealing with the Roaring Night, Deltarune Chapter 3, Secret Boss, whole thing. I'm reviewing that Secret Boss, this fucking night thing that has been bothering me since whatever, only God knows, right? But anyways, so after just yesterday, right, and after just completely getting off the night, like, my day went from wanting to deal with the Roaring Night to just completely shut off. It was one of the weirdest experiences I probably ever had. Because usually I would be like, no, I'm not going to quit. I'm not going to stop. I want to get my happy ending where I beat that fucker in Chapter 3. You know what I'm saying? Because usually I push myself to do things, but as of late, you know, like I said, I'm noticing that and how dangerous that is for me, trying to push myself when I don't need to, when I shouldn't, and it's not really important, you know? Sure, it's important to me, but at the grand scheme of things, is it really going to improve my life? Is it going to make me $1 million? Is it going to do something like that's actually going to leave an impact for the rest of my life? Or is it just going to be like a thing that's going to happen in a moment of time where we're just all going to fucking forget about it? You know what I'm saying? So, and since my brain, I guess, is more geared thinking like that, I guess that's why after that stream, the last stream of the Roaring Night Chapter 3, my brain towards me wanting to do it just completely turned off. Like, it was just done dealing with it. So done, in fact, that, like, I can't even pick up the controller sometimes just to try to redo Chapter 3 all the way, because I just can't even. And maybe I did, like, 1 or 2 attempts of the Roaring Night. You know, 1 or 2 attempts, like, on my main file, but after that, you know, died to the same move over and over again. I was just like, yeah, it's just the same shit over and over again. And even, let's say this, even if I got the Shadow Mantle like I mentioned earlier in the review, I don't think it would have mattered, because a lot of people say it's still bad shit difficult with the Shadow Mantle equipped to one of your characters, and other stuff, your other equipment with your other characters to make their defense and other stuff higher doesn't matter and all that other sort of stuff. And I know there's a lot of people probably out there that, like, you know, that deal with hard games on a regular basis, that be like, hard games are the shizzle, you know, that gets my dick wet, or all that other stupid shit people like to say, or whatever. That's just not me, you know. And I remember this really stuck in my head, and I think this really took an effect on me, because when I think of the Shadow Mantle or anything like that, or when I think of doing any of these Undertale Deltarune things, I think RJ Welder said it best, right? And it was during one of my Sans videos. I think that stuck with me like ever. It has stuck with me ever since, and I think it's true, actually, because he said in one of my other videos, he said, I notice your skill level around these boss fights, or if it's like for Sans fights specifically, but it kind of feels like it honestly kind of feels like it's true, but on just a general scale in terms of Undertale and Deltarune bosses, right? For me, because it's like Sans, right, being at the very top of that bar, right? Regular genocide route Sans being at that top. And then Pacifist Sans being right there. Maybe Jebel being on that same level. Maybe even a little bit higher. Spammed and Neo, like regular, is way lower. The secret boss version is way lower. That's why I'm gonna do a Deltarune like boss fight tier list, or just a Deltarune tier list in general. I'm gonna do that. I don't know about today, but I'm definitely gonna do that sometime, because I just need to get one out there for all the way up to chapters 3 and 4, because I don't want to, since chapter 5, 6, 7, and 8 are not out yet. I was thinking of waiting until the entire game is released and then do a whole thing, but obviously I know people will make tier lists about boss fights through chapters 5, 6, 7 when they come out, or whatever the fuck. But I digress, right? It's just that, back to what I was saying about the bosses, it feels like Sans was like my peak level, and then if anything is underneath, I can probably do that too. But if anything is much higher than that, or anything higher than that, I just can't even fathom doing, or like, you just stand no chance, right? And I think subconsciously, like, after reading that comment, I think I just sort of accepted that. And which is probably why like I wasn't sweating so bad during the whole Roaring Night thing, because I think my body subconsciously knew that you can't do this. You know, like you legit can't do this. Like this is, it's not too much. Why are you even trying? I don't know. It's like my body just trying to tell me like, why are you even trying? And I think that's honestly kind of sad that like, you know, my body, my brain is like telling me, keep on going, keep doing this, keep pushing, keep doing attempts, keep going. You're getting further. We can do this. And my body is just like, just completely like this right now. Yeah, yeah, you're done. Yeah. All right. Yeah, we've been through this song and dance so many times. I honestly don't give a fuck anymore. Like we really have. Now, like, you know what, Brian, you can just take it. You can take it from here. You can take it from here. I'm tired of this. You know, I'll be back with Alan when you know he's not doing this. I'll be back. All right, I'll just be back. Yep. I might as well just shut off my functions. You know, whatever. Right. And I'm just like, yep, my brain's probably the only thing that's keeping me going. And that's why I see it. That's why I say it's weird that I wasn't sweating so bad like during that whole thing yesterday, because I was frustrated. I was slamming the chair was going everywhere, fucking slamming my arms on the chair legs, getting like ridiculously pissed off, yet not a single drop of sweat, you know? And it's like, I remember Chris was telling me like, dude, was it because you weren't thinking about it? Was it because, what the fuck? And I'm like, I don't know, because I was even doing Google searches on it, and one of the things was Google was saying that maybe your body is finally adapted to the stress that you go through on a regular basis, which is why you're not like, you know, stressed out during that fight or whatever, or during that event. By the way, thank you for 4 likes and all that other sort of stuff like that or whatever. I'm just like, I don't know. You know, I can't describe it. You know, I don't know. Anyone else maybe can describe it. Let me know. If you got a fucking doctor in the family and they watch this video, please describe it to me. Like, what the fuck is wrong with that? Who knows? Maybe we'll figure it out one day. But until then, we'll just leave it as a mystery. And, yeah, after just not doing the Roaring Night, like, obviously, in my brain, whenever I bring it up, like, just trying to do it, it is kind of sad that this story kind of ends with just me just failing. Because I don't like failing. I like succeeding because I fail a lot. I fail a lot, probably more times than I've obviously succeeded at something. So when I get that success, it means something. It sticks with me. Or even the failure sticks with me. Probably the failure more than the success, honestly. But you know, it's awesome whenever I get that redemption story, you know, where it's like, oh, I actually did manage to do this, or, you know, I did manage it, I did manage to do it, you know, you know, it's not just me, you know, trying to convince myself to do it anymore, I actually did it, so now I can actually properly fuck off, you know, but now I just feel nothing, like, I just feel nothing about it, like, I'm not, like, sad, or it's not ruining my day like it usually would, or it's not tearing me up inside. It's just, I'm just completely like, not neutral about it, but I'm just completely like, I don't know, just borderline just about it. Sure, I know I tried to redo the chapter, but like as I'm talking about it now, like my feelings towards it is just going like this. At first I was like, nah, maybe I can, but then slow, like immediately it just went like flat line, zoom raced across like that. That's what the Roaring Night boss fight kind of feels like to me now. Like, it just feels like that. And sure, when I listen to the music and have those videos up as Deltarune videos, or maybe go back to them whenever I do rage comps on Deltarune stuff, which I noticed I probably should get up on, because I have a lot of moments from Undertale that a lot of people be like, holy fuck, you know, about. But I digress, right? And, but anyways, that's my review on the Roaring Night as a secret boss. Let me know down below if you actually beat the Roaring Night. Chapter 3's version of Roaring Night. And by the way, I also quit because I also said, you know what, I'm gonna see this fucker, like, as like a mandatory boss or something like that way later in Deltarune's story. You know, so I'll see him then. Like, I won't deal with it now, but I'll see him then or whatever the fucking shit. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I'll see the Shadow Knight or Roaring Knight, whatever the fuck his name is then. And honestly, I just think it's kind of shitty that, like, I couldn't do, fuck. I don't know. Maybe I'll go back to each other three for Mike. I don't know. I don't know. I don't have a Mike review yet or a Gerson review yet, so that's something. But anyways, I digress. I don't know. This video is something else. I know this felt more ranty than usual, but it's an hour of my experience. What the fuck do you expect? But yeah, that's my thoughts. But seriously, let me know what you guys think of the Roaring Knight as a secret boss. Did you guys enjoy him? Did you guys absolutely despise him? Did you guys just kind of walk away after seeing one move like most players did the first time we initially saw him and all that other sort of stuff and shit? And let me know down below about that stuff, man. And yeah. Well, I mean, I can't end this video without, I don't know, something Roaring Knight related. I don't fucking know. I mean, since it's a Roaring Knight review, I gotta do something Roaring Knight related. Like, I don't know. Fuck. Like, I don't know how to end this video on. Like, honest to God, I don't know, maybe his, you know what, just, fuck it, I guess, like, I'll just,